Amazing Solar System. You are about to embark on a journey that will widen the horizons of your mind, stagger your imagination, and challenge your convictions. Come with me and we'll explore unusual and little-known facts about our amazing solar system. You love every second of it. Our solar system is composed of the Sun and the planets that orbit around it. The planets are divided into two groups: the inner planets and the outer planets. The inner planets are the first four planets closest to the Sun and are within the asteroid belt. The outer planets are the planets outside the asteroid belt. These are the four giant gas planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. The Sun. The Sun is the star at the center of our solar system. It is a huge ball of hydrogen and helium gas. The Sun is an average-sized star, but it's 750 times bigger than all the planets put together. 1 million Earths would fit inside it. Its diameter is 1.4 million kilometers, or 865,000 miles. It would take about 109 Earths lined side by side to fit across the diameter of the Sun. Its surface temperature is 6,000 degrees centigrade or 11,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Because it is so large, the Sun's gravity keeps the planets, asteroids, comets, and everything moving around it in regular orbit. It also provides them with light and heat. The Sun has supplied heat and light to the Earth for years, and it has enough hydrogen to provide us energy for another 5 billion years. Without the Sun's heat, the Earth would be frozen in space, and there would be no life on Earth. The Sun's outpouring of energy is equal to 100,000 million hydrogen bombs exploding every second. Its energy production each second is enough to supply the electrical needs of the United States for 50 million years. The Sun's surface, even the size of a postage stamp, shines with a power of 1,500,000 candles. The Sun rotates on its axis from left to right. Gases in the middle of the Sun, however, rotate faster than those at the top and bottom. The middle rotates in 25 days, while the top and bottom rotate once in 29 days. The Sun gives off a stream of gases blowing out in all directions. This is called the solar wind. Some particles of the solar wind sometimes collide with particles in our atmosphere and produce a glowing effect, a beautiful colored light in the sky called an aurora. In the northern hemisphere, it is called aurora borealis. The Sun's surface swirls with very hot gases. Long streams of gas sometimes shoot out, then loops back to the Sun's surface like arch-shaped fountains. These are called prominences. The greatest prominence recorded shot 250,000 miles from the surface of the Sun. That's more than the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Sunspots are dark patches of cooler gas on the Sun's surface. The largest sunspots have an area of 18 billion square kilometers or 7 million square miles. Even the coolest sunspot has a temperature of 4,000 degrees centigrade. Sometimes huge explosions occur near sunspots. These are called flares. These flares release energy as much as millions of hydrogen bombs, blowing out atomic particles into space at high speeds. The Sun is the nearest star and only one of the billion stars in the universe. At the speed of light, we could reach the Sun in 8 minutes. But it would take us 4 years and 3 minutes to reach the next nearest star. Mercury. Mercury is the planet nearest to the Sun. It is 36 million miles or 58 million kilometers away from the Sun. From Mercury, the Sun appears 9 times brighter than from Earth, although Mercury is only 3 times closer to the Sun. Mercury is the second smallest planet, next to Pluto. Mercury is 1/3 of Earth's size. Its mass is about 20 times smaller than that of the Earth. Its diameter is 3,032 miles or 4,880 kilometers, the distance from San Francisco to New York. Mercury is the fastest moving planet. It takes Mercury only 88 Earth days to go around the Sun. It races around the Sun at an average speed of 172,248 kilometers per hour, or 48 kilometers per second. 1 year in Mercury is only about 88 Earth days, 4 times shorter than our year. On Mercury, you grow old 4 times as fast because 1 Earth year is equivalent to 4 Mercury years. So if you're 25 years old on Earth, you're more than 100 years old on Mercury. Mercury spins or rotates more slowly than the other planets, except Venus. A day in Mercury is equivalent to 59 Earth days. Its day is 59 times as long as our day. Mercury has only 2 Mercury days in 1 Mercury year. In fact, less than 2 days. So, if you love to watch the sun rise, you won't like it on Mercury because you'll see the sun rise only twice in 1 Mercury year. Mercury is the hottest planet by day, but very cold during the night. The side facing the sun is hot enough to melt leads. It is the planet with the widest temperature range. At daytime, Mercury is over 7 times hotter than the hottest desert on Earth. Temperature rises to 662 degrees Fahrenheit or 350 degrees centigrade, even as high as 450 degrees centigrade. At nighttime, the temperature is colder than that inside a home freezer. Temperature drops to minus 274 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 170 degrees centigrade, even as low as minus 183 degrees centigrade. Mercury weighs almost as much as Earth. Although only 1/3 the size of Earth, because its iron core is very large. Mercury contains iron twice as that of any other planet, so it's almost as dense as Earth. Mercury's large core of iron is about the size of our moon. It could supply us enough iron to meet our needs on Earth for thousands and millions of years. Its gravity is 1/3 that of Earth, although its mass is only 1/17. There is no water. There are no rivers and no oceans. It has almost no atmosphere or air. The dry, rocky surface of Mercury is covered with a thick layer of dust. It has many craters, made by crashing meteorites, asteroids, and comets. The largest crater is the Caloris Basin, about 1,300 kilometers or 800 miles across, bigger than the state of Texas. It has huge, steep cliffs and ridges, up to 3 kilometers high and 500 kilometers long, cutting through the craters. There are wide plains on one side of Mercury, formed from lava of old volcanoes. People can see Mercury in the east just before sunrise, and in the west after sunset. The first and only space probe that visited Mercury is the American spacecraft Mariner 10. It flew past Mercury 3 times in 1974 to 1975. It took, with its 2 cameras, 2,800 pictures of Mercury. So far, no creatures live in Mercury. Venus. Venus is the second planet closest to the Sun. Its average distance from the Sun is 108 million kilometers. Venus is the brightest planet, brighter than any object in the sky, except the Sun and the Moon. Venus is often called at sunset the evening star, and at sunrise the morning star. Venus is the hottest planet, with a maximum surface temperature of 480 degrees centigrade, even at night. It is hot enough to melt lead and twice as hot as a kitchen oven. You couldn't last more than a few seconds in Venus. It would bake you at 896 degrees Fahrenheit, crush you 90 times harder than the air pressure on Earth, suffocate you with carbon dioxide, and dissolve you in sulfuric acid. Stepping onto Venus, you would be corroded, crushed, suffocated, and baked at the same time. It's almost 5 times as hot as boiling water. The reason for these high temperatures is the atmosphere of Venus, almost entirely carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide traps the heat from the sun so well, producing a greenhouse effect. The US and the Soviet Union have sent almost 24 spacecrafts or probes to Venus. Some of the spacecrafts touched down on Venus but were quickly destroyed because the atmosphere was so hot. The first space probe to land on Venus in 1966 was quickly crushed by the planet's heavy atmosphere. Its air pressure is 90 times that of the Earth's atmosphere. Venus is often called the Earth's twin because its size, mass, and density is very similar to Earth's. Its diameter is 12,104 kilometers or 7,521 miles, 95% that of Earth. It has a semi-solid core of iron and nickel, about 6,000 kilometers in diameter. Venus orbits the Sun at 35 kilometers per second, second in speed only to Mercury. Venus has the longest rotation in the solar system, 243 Earth days and 14 minutes. One Venus day is longer than one Venus year, because it takes Venus longer to rotate on its axis than to spin around the Sun. One Venus day is equal to 243 Earth days. One Venus year is equal to 224 Earth days. Venus has no moons. On Venus, the Sun rises in the west and sets in the east, unlike the Earth, where the Sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Venus has a counter or backward rotation, like Uranus and Pluto. Venus rotates backwards, or opposite to its revolution around the Sun. It's unlike the Earth that rotates the same direction as its revolution around the Sun. Scientists call this retrograde, or backward rotation. No one can see the surface of Venus through a telescope because it's wrapped in clouds. Pioneer Venus 2 revealed 3 blankets of clouds around Venus. The upper layer is made of sulfuric acid, swirling at 200 miles an hour. Next is the thin, hazy upper layer of clouds, 15 miles thick. Below it is another layer of clouds, 40 miles thick, covering Venus' surface. These thick cloud layers, containing droplets of sulfuric acid, are driven by winds at a speed of 360 kilometers per hour. Moving at a speed 3 times faster than winds in a hurricane, these clouds race around Venus once every 4 days. Venus clouds don't make rain because it's too hot for rain to form. Any liquid dries up instantly. On Earth, clouds are made of water vapor, but there is no water in Venus. Its clouds consist of droplets of sulfuric acid, the same type of acid you find in a car battery. The space probe Magellan, however, orbited Venus on August 10, 1990, once every 3 hours, and mapped the surface by radar, transmitting its first pictures on August 16, 1990. Magellan's radar image of the surface showed signs of active volcanoes. Most of Venus is made up of gently rolling hills with a few craters. About 10% of Venus is rugged mountain terrain. One huge mountain range is called Maxwell Montes, one of the highest mountains in the solar system, higher than Mount Everest by 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers. Lightning flashes and thunder booms almost all the time in Venus. No living thing has been found in Venus. Earth. Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun. We may not notice it, but the Earth is moving continuously, non-stop, at 100,000 kilometers, or 30 kilometers per second. Earth's orbit is slightly oval. Time it takes to orbit the Sun is 365 days and 6 hours, or 1 year. That's why we add a day in February every 4 years, leap year, to make up for that extra 6 hours. Time to rotate on its axis is 24 hours. In 1 year, it moves along its orbit, a journey of 1 billion kilometers, or 600 million miles. Earth is tilted on its axis. This causes the seasons. When the top of the Earth, the North Pole, tilts toward the Sun, it is summer in the Northern Hemisphere, but winter in the Southern Hemisphere. When the North Pole tilts away, it is winter in the Northern Hemisphere, but summer in the Southern Hemisphere. Earth's atmosphere from the surface going up is 6 miles thick. Our atmosphere protects us in many ways. Average surface temperature is 22 degrees centigrade. Earth's atmosphere is made up of a combination of gases: nitrogen 77%, oxygen 21%, 2% is filled by carbon dioxide, argon, and trace gases. It breaks up rocks, even as big as an automobile, when they enter our atmosphere from space. It shields us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. It is divided into 4 layers. The topmost, which gradually merges into space, is the exosphere. Below it is the ionosphere, where air exists as ions or charged atoms that break up and burn up meteors or rocks from space. The next layer below is the stratosphere, within which is a layer of ozone that filters the harmful rays of the sun. The layer at the bottommost layer is the troposphere, where the air is thickest. It is here where our weather occurs. The atmosphere also traps some of the sun's heat, but lets most back into space. However, as we burn more fuels, more and more carbon dioxide gets into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide has a greenhouse effect. It traps heat from the sun and holds it in the atmosphere, like the way a garden greenhouse glass does. As a result, average temperatures around the world slowly rise and melt the ice caps at the poles. This could raise the average sea level all over the Earth, and there will be widespread flooding, especially in low-lying areas. Water and atmosphere are 2 reasons why there is life on Earth. More than 70% or 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Another factor is Earth's distance to the sun, which is just right. If it were closer to the sun, like Mercury or Venus, it would be too hot for life. If it were too far, like Mars, it would be too cold for life. Earth's outer crust is made up of giant rafts or plates of rock that float on the planet's liquid center. These plates carry continents, and they move a few inches each year. This process is called plate tectonics. Continents are moving apart about 4 centimeters each year, about as fast as your fingernails grow. Below the crust is another layer of rock called the mantle, which is melted or molten rock. The center of the Earth is made up of liquid rock around a solid core. The Earth has only one moon. It is 380,000 kilometers, or 240,000 miles away. A 2 or 3 day journey by a spacecraft. The moon has no light of its own. It shines by reflecting light from the sun. It is the 6th largest moon in the solar system. It is 1/4 the size of Earth, with a diameter of 3,476 kilometers, or 2,160 miles. The Moon travels in orbit around the Earth, just as the Earth travels around the Sun. It takes the Moon the same time, 27.32 days, to turn on its axis as it takes it to orbit the Earth. We always see the same side of the Moon because the Earth's gravity has locked the Moon, so that it turns on its own axis in the same time as it orbits the Earth. The Moon seems to change in shape. These changes are known as the Moon's phases. A complete cycle of phases takes 29 days, the origin of our calendar month. When it lies between the Earth and the Sun, we do not see it. This is called the new moon. Then it appears in the western sky in the evening as a young crescent. After a few days, we see a half moon, known as the first quarter. The phase between the half moon and the full moon is the gibbons. Then comes the full moon, after which it goes the same phases in reverse. It ends with a crescent moon rising in the morning sky before sunrise. Through a telescope, over 500,000 craters can be seen on the Moon's surface. These craters were made by meteorites and comets that hit the Moon. Asteroids also hit the Moon, forming huge basins. The temperature on the lunar equator at midday is 117 degrees centigrade or 243 degrees Fahrenheit, and at night, minus 162 degrees centigrade or minus 261 degrees Fahrenheit. Moon has no air, no water, no plant, no animal. It is made of solid rock. Apollo 11 touched down on the Sea of Tranquility on July 20, 1969.
The Eagle has landed.
Armstrong stepped into the Moon saying,
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
"That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin were the first men to land on the Moon. Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the Moon and collected 20 kilograms or 48 pounds of rocks. Later Apollo missions followed. A total of 12 astronauts walked on the Moon and explored over 60 miles of the Moon's surface. Apollo 17 was the last manned flight. The Apollo astronauts took over 30,000 photographs, and they collected 830 kilograms of rocks and soil, or 842 pounds taken from 6 different locations. These rocks are the most expensive rocks ever because the total cost of the Apollo program was $25 billion. That's $30 million per pound. Mars. Mars is the 4th planet close to the Sun. Mars is known as the red planet because it's covered with rusty red dust. Like Earth, Mars is made of rock, but the rock contains much iron, which makes the planet look red. The sky of Mars is pink, colored by iron oxide dust, which are blown in the atmosphere. Its distance from the Sun is 228 million kilometers or 141 million miles. Its diameter is 4,208 miles or 6,800 kilometers, 53% that of Earth. Mars has a very small iron core with no detectable magnetism. Its interior is made up of mostly rock with very little metal. Its mass is only 1/10 that of Earth's. Its density is 2/3 that of Earth's. Its surface gravity is just over 1/3 that on Earth. A day on Mars is only a half hour longer than our day. One rotation is 24 hours and 37 minutes. But 1 year in Mars is 687 Earth days, the time it takes Mars to orbit the Sun. Mars' orbit is off-center. Sometimes Mars is much closer to the Sun than other times. The air is far too thin to breathe. So enough ultraviolet radiation from the Sun reaches its surface, killing any living thing. Mars has no surface water. The only water is frozen ice at the poles, no liquid water. And if all the water in the atmosphere of Mars is collected, it would fill only a small pond. The temperature on Mars never gets above 0 degrees centigrade. Average surface temperature is minus 25 degrees centigrade. It is always too cold. The temperature never rises above freezing point, even on a summer day. There is no greenhouse effect in Mars, unlike Venus, because the atmosphere is thin. Mars has the largest volcano, called Olympus Mons. It is 3 times higher than our highest mountain, Mount Everest, in the Himalayas, and wide enough to cover Spain. This extinct volcano is 25 kilometers high and 600 kilometers across. At its top is a crater 90 kilometers big enough to swallow cities. Mars has a great canyon called Valles Marineris, or Mariner Valley. It is 13 times longer than the Grand Canyon. It is 4,000 kilometers, or 2,500 miles long, and in some places 200 kilometers, or 124 miles wide, and 7 kilometers, or 4 miles deep. It would stretch from New York to San Francisco. Mars has 2 small, irregularly shaped moons, probably pieces of asteroids, called Phobos and Deimos. The first spacecraft to orbit Mars was Mariner 9. Mariner 9 orbited Mars in November 1971. In the next 11 months, it took more than 7,000 pictures of Mars. In July 1976, 2 U.S. space probes, Viking 1 and 2, landed on Mars. No life has been found on Mars. The asteroid belt. Between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter lies the asteroid belt. This belt is composed of millions of asteroids circling the Sun like the planets. 5,000 of these asteroids have been so far located and identified. Most asteroids are spherical or irregularly shaped rocks. They are either remnants of the materials that formed the solar system or the result of collisions between 2 or more larger asteroids. A typical asteroid is Ida, which is 19 kilometers long. It has many craters and covered with dust. Jupiter. Jupiter is the 5th planet close to the Sun, the first of the outer planets called gas giants. Its distance from the Sun is 778,292,000 kilometers, or 483,631,000 miles. Jupiter is the biggest of the planets, all the planets of the solar system would fit inside a hollow Jupiter. It is 2.5 times bigger than all the other planets combined. Its volume is 1,323 times that of Earth. More than 1,323 Earths could fit inside it. The diameter of Jupiter is 142,800 kilometers, or 89,400 miles. 11 times larger than the Earth, but only 1/10 that of the Sun. It is so big that it would take a car traveling at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour or 60 miles per hour, 187 days to go around it. Jupiter is the planet with the shortest day because it spins faster than any other planet. 1 day in Jupiter is equal to 10 hours on Earth. 1 year in Jupiter is equal to 11 Earth years and 314 days. It goes around the Sun at an average speed of 13 kilometers per second. Jupiter's gravity is 2.5 times greater than the Earth's. If you want to lose weight, you won't like it on Jupiter. On Jupiter, your weight is 3 times greater than it is on Earth. This gas giant has no solid surface. Jupiter is mostly a ball of 90% liquid hydrogen and 10% helium, swirling at a speed of 260 miles per hour, covered with a layer of clouds. On top of the clouds, lightning is always flashing. Lightning on Jupiter is 10,000 as powerful as that on Earth. Jupiter is the planet with a bulging waistline because it bulges wider at its equator. That causes the clouds in its atmosphere to form belts and zones. Belts are dark, low-lying warm cloud layers. Zones are bright, high, cooler cloud layers. Jupiter has a great red spot, the largest storm in the planet that moves on Jupiter's surface. The spot is 9,000 miles wide. It was even as large as 30,000 miles wide in the past, bigger than planet Earth, brick red, but now much paler. It was first seen in 1665 by an Italian astronomer. Jupiter has 16 moons. One is bigger than Mercury. One is the same size as Mercury. Jupiter's 4 largest moons are known as the Galilean satellites: Ganymede, Callisto, Io, and Europa. The biggest is called Ganymede. It is the biggest moon in the solar system. It is even bigger than the planet Mercury. Callisto is the darkest and iciest moon. Io is the most explosive object in the solar system. It has volcanoes that are still erupting. It is the only moon in our solar system with active volcanoes. Europa is the brightest of the Galilean satellites. It is covered by a layer of ice that is 60 miles thick. It has the smoothest surface in the solar system. The Voyager space probes launched from Earth in 1977 and reached Jupiter in 1979. Voyager 1 went closest to the planet at 280,000 kilometers. Voyager discovered a ring of dust around Jupiter, but too faint to be seen from Earth. Jupiter's band or ring system is not as spectacular as the ones seen on Saturn. The air pressure at Jupiter's center is 100 million times higher than the Earth's. If you try to land on Jupiter, you will be crushed long before you reach its solid core. Saturn. Saturn, another gas planet, is sometimes called the ringed planet. Until 200 years ago, scientists thought Saturn was the last planet in our solar system. It is the most distant planet one can see without a telescope. It is the sixth planet out from the Sun, with a distance of 1,429,370,000 kilometers, or 888,210,000 miles from the Sun. It is twice as far from Earth as Jupiter. It is the second biggest planet. It is 10 times the size of Earth. Its diameter is 120,000 kilometers, or 74,500 miles, nearly 10 times that of Earth. Saturn is mostly made of swirling gases, more loosely packed than Jupiter. Its density is only 70% that of water. Saturn would float on water if there was an ocean large enough to hold it, but all the other planets would sink. Although Saturn is the least dense planet and Earth the most dense, Saturn is still 95 times heavier than Earth. Saturn has a small core of rock and ice surrounded by an inner mantle of metallic hydrogen. Its volume is 815 times that of Earth. One day in Saturn is equal to 11.5 hours. It's shorter than our day because Saturn rotates on its axis so fast it even bulges at the equator. Its year is 29.5 times longer than ours. It takes Saturn 29 Earth years to go around the Sun. Saturn travels at a speed of 9.64 kilometers per second. If you enjoy celebrating your birthday, you won't like it in Saturn because you'll have to wait 29 Earth years to have a birthday. Saturn receives only 1/100th of the light and heat from the Sun that the Earth receives. The temperature is cold. It can drop to 290 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Its atmosphere contains 94% hydrogen and 5% helium with pale ammonia clouds. At the equator, winds 10 times stronger than hurricane on Earth blow at speeds of 1,770 kilometers or 1,100 miles per hour. It has the most number of moons in the solar system. It has 23 known moons. It has 7 moons of moderate size: Titan, Mimas, Enceladus, Tethys, Rhea, Iapetus, and Phoebe. Saturn's largest moon is Titan, with a diameter of 5,150 kilometers, half the diameter of the Earth, and slightly larger than Mercury. It is the second largest moon in the solar system. It is the only moon in the solar system with a thick atmosphere, even denser than Earth's air. Saturn's other moons are mostly small, irregularly shaped objects. Saturn has the most spectacular system of rings. Although the other gas planets, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune, also have rings, Saturn's rings are the brightest. The rings are very thin, only 100 meters or 300 feet thick. But 275,000 kilometers or 171,000 miles in diameter, over twice the width of the planet itself. The rings begin about 30,000 above the planet and stretch 275,000 kilometers into space. The rings are made of billions of tiny chunks of ice and dust, orbiting or going around Saturn. Life is impossible on this beautiful giant planet because it is made up of swirling gases. Uranus. It is the first planet to be discovered with a telescope. It is sometimes called the tipped-over planet. While the other planets in the solar system spin like a top, it goes around the sun lying on its side like a rolling barrel. It was probably knocked over long ago by another planet. It is the seventh planet from the Sun. Its distance from the Sun is 2,875,000,000 kilometers. If you fly in a supersonic jet plane, with its speed of 2,170 kilometers or 1,350 miles per hour, it would take you 150 years to reach your destination. It is also the third largest planet. It has a diameter of about 51,000 kilometers, 4 times wider than the Earth's. It consists of a mixture of ice and gas around a solid core. Its atmosphere contains methane, which gives a blue-green color. Its atmosphere is hydrogen and helium, like Jupiter and Saturn's. Its average temperature is minus 214 degrees centigrade. It has 15 moons made of a mixture of rock and ice. Before 1985, astronomers thought it had only 5 moons until the space probe Voyager 2 discovered 10 more. Its 4 largest moons are Ariel, Umbriel, Titania, and Oberon. It also has 11 rings, but unlike the bright rings of Saturn, its rings are as black as coal and too faint to be seen through a telescope on Earth. A day is equal to 17 hours and 14 minutes on Earth. The time it takes to make a complete rotation on its axis. Unlike most of the other planets, it rotates backward. A year is equal to 84 Earth years. That's the time it takes to circle the Sun. As it orbits the Sun, it lies on its side. Sometimes its North Pole, and at other times its South Pole is pointing towards the Sun. This position results in a long period of uninterrupted daylight or darkness. In its 84-year orbit around the Sun, there are 42 years of daylight, followed by 42 years of darkness. Imagine yourself living in daylight for 42 years, then living in darkness for the next 42 years. Neptune. Neptune is the 8th planet from the Sun. Neptune is the smallest and the last of the gas giants. It looks so much like Uranus, scientists thought it was the twin of Uranus. Neptune looks like a blue-green ball. Its blue color is due to a gas called methane. It is so far away it was not discovered until 1846. It is 4.5 billion kilometers or 2.8 billion miles from the Sun. It is so far away that the space probe Voyager 2's radio messages traveling at the speed of light took more than 4 hours to reach the Earth. Neptune is slightly smaller than Uranus, but 4 times the size of the Earth. Its diameter is 48,600 kilometers, or 30,200 miles, or 3.8 times that of Earth. 58 Earths would fit inside Neptune. Neptune's atmosphere is made up mostly of hydrogen and helium, like the other gas planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, 85% hydrogen and 15% helium. Temperature is minus 216 degrees centigrade, or minus 357 degrees Fahrenheit. Neptune is the windiest planet in our solar system, with winds blowing at 1,364 miles per hour. Voyager's cameras also showed a huge oval storm cloud called the Great Dark Spot on Neptune's surface. It is about the size of Earth. Another such storm is the Small Dark Spot. A large area of cirrus cloud is also seen and called Scooter because it races around the planet very fast. Neptune is another planet with rings. The space probe Voyager observed 3 faint rings and a broad sheet of dust particles around Neptune. Neptune has 8 known moons. The largest, Triton, 2,700 kilometers across, travels opposite the other moons. It is the only moon we know that has a retrograde or backward orbit. The coldest place in the solar system is also on the pinkish surface of Triton, which has a temperature of minus 235 degrees centigrade or minus 391 degrees Fahrenheit, only 38 degrees centigrade above absolute zero. A day on Neptune is 16 hours and 7 minutes long. A year on Neptune is 164 years and 10 months. It takes Neptune so long to go around the Sun that since it was discovered, it has not completed a full orbit. It travels at a speed of 5.4 kilometers per second. Chances are you won't live long enough to celebrate your first birthday. We cannot help but pause to wonder at the power, glory, and wisdom of the One who created all these and put them in order. The design and order of things just won't keep us from believing that really there is a creator and ruler of the universe. There is God.